funky tunes on this Sunday morning for the Mindset Session. I'm Luke Moroney, Tony Meredith over in the blue corner, over here in the red corner, making sure that we are working on our mindset on a constant basis, aren't we, Tony?
We sure are, Luke. We're just chilling, we're relaxing here in the Botanical Gardens of Brisbane. We've got the tunes in the background. I just said to Luke before we come on air, I dance a lot like Donald Trump. So quite ordinary.
Very appropriate. And hi to Mum and Johnny. Good to have you on.
Hello.
We are talking a little bit about bringing the mindset around the US elections, but bringing it all back for us in terms of our mindset and what actually we're going through. Think about Biden, who's just been confirmed.
President-elect.
Confirmed, but by media and different
Except
people.
Donald.
Except Donald, as the president. Now, this guy, to put some context on it, and you might be able to, because you almost were late today, Tony, because you were watching all the presidential election and just got enthralled and really concentrated on what was going on. Sean, good to have you on. Kelly and Sean are watching.
Hi, guys.
Good to see you on. A whole bunch of other people are coming on as well to think about their mindsets on a Sunday morning. But back to the election. 47 years Joe Biden has been in the
Senate. He's been in the Senate.
In the Senate.
Yep.
And looking to get to be the top job. He wanted to be number one. And he's had a number of bites at the cherry. He's had situations, ups and downs and roller coaster rides in his life. His wife and child passed away in a car accident. There's a lot of things that have happened. His son passed away of cancer. And there was a number of different things that really could have put someone back into what their focus was. And today what we want to really talk about is detaching from that outcome. Joe Biden has detached from that outcome. Now he's got the results of being that number one. Tony Gallagher, good to have you on, and a bunch of other people have also joined. So what do you think around, thinking about Biden in his run? We're not going to be political on one side or the other. We just want to, really focus on the whole idea about what he's been able to achieve and how long has it taken him to get there?
Well, it's a process. One of the things we're going to talk about is the process and the fact that it's 47 years. And in fact, Hillary was the Democratic running or person who ran at the last election and lost to Trump. Biden dropped out. Biden had dropped out, and then he came back. I was just saying to Luke, he came back a couple of years ago, and in fact, in the Democratic race to select their candidate, he was so far behind, and yet he never gave up. He never gave up, and here he is today. He's been president-elect, and it's a true example of never giving up on your dreams. So again, let's bring that back to our dreams. Not all of us, well, we can't, none of us can be the US presidential president, unless, of course, you're a US citizen. But for us, what is your dreams, and are you giving up on those dreams, or are you continuing to chase down those dreams? 47 years is a phenomenal amount of time to chip away, have plenty of tilts at the top job, get knocked back, and here he is, and today he's become president-elect.
So how do you feel about the grind then, Tony?
Oh, I think the grind is critical. The grind is essential. It's all about the process, and one of the things we're going to talk about is disconnecting yourself from the outcome and instead focusing on the process. Focus on what's in front of you. Love the process, love the journey, because it's one hell of a journey. For Joe Biden, 47-year journey. I think he's 77, so it's like, for well over, almost 2/3 of his life, he's been trying to get to this particular spot, and he's got there, which is amazing. So, true testament, and we can rattle on about a whole range of other, entrepreneurs who have success late in life, whether it be Ray Kroc at Macca's, whether it be Colonel Sanders at KFC, a whole range of others as well.
Well, the average age of an entrepreneur is 55 years old or something.
Wow.
It goes to think about what is actually it all about. Mark says persistence, but patience. Yes. Yeah, so persistence, and what Gary Vee talks about is daily hustle, long-term patience. And I guess that's where another Sean's come on. Good to have you on as well. David, Lou, and Cheryl. And Cheryl says, morning, superstars. Morning to you, Cheryl, another superstar.
Absolutely. Superstar. So absolutely, it's about patience. Yet so many of us in 2020 are looking for instant gratification. We're looking for that instant hit. And hey, we do it on social media. We post something, we're looking for a like. We want the like. We want to know that someone's responded, and we feel good about it. And if no one does respond, then we feel like crap. And that's a dangerous position to be in, because now you're putting your entire emotional state in something that's out of your control. And that's one of the things we want to focus on today, is getting us to disconnect from the outcome, focus on what is within our control, what are the things that we can do, focus on our process, our journey. And I was starting to talk about you, Luke, with your running before we came on air. It's about keep on focusing on your form, your technique, that next step. You know, that next step, your breath, how you swing your arms, all those types of things. Don't focus on the finish. Whilst, yes, that's there, but it's also about you don't get to the finish if you don't do this next step efficiently, as effectively as you can.
I will say, Sean Hayes, good to have you on. It's like a Sean day today. Different spellings, but yeah, everyone's here and joining the fun. And we're talking about disconnecting from the outcome and really focus on yourself and the processes that you're going through. I will say, in terms of social media, I do check the number of likes or shares or comments that come through, but it's only in towards me testing and trying things. What works, what doesn't work. I'm not just, I need to have 100 likes or 1,000 likes or 100 comments or whatever. I know that if I do it on a consistent basis and a persistent basis, then I'm going to give value, and that's going to come back to me.
How often do you check? Check the likes and all that, the shares and whatnot.
Probably once a day or something.
That's okay. So once a day is fine. So yeah. I do about once a day, but it's the people who are doing it all the time. So I understand your point, and I agree with you. Oh my gosh, as the wind has picked up here.
No, it's the sprinklers are on.
Oh, sprinklers are on. Okay.
Lucky they haven't hit us.
But I agree with your point, and that is that yes, for what we do, we're looking to get awareness, attention, etc. And so you're looking to get it as far and as wide as you possibly can. And so yes, you want to make sure that you are, the things that you are doing are resonating. If they're not resonating, it's called test and learn. But it's those people who are looking every 10 minutes, every 15 minutes, maybe every 5 minutes to go, oh my gosh, I just posted something and I want to check it out and I want to see what's going on.
Interesting one. Linda's actually talking about a bit of a property idea. She's actually bought an off-the-plan waterfront property in Maroochydore and won't be ready until next December. Just sold an apartment in DY this week. I'm thinking I could buy the worst house on the best street property and do it up and sell it next year in Queensland rather than just rent. Your thoughts?
Well, I think you need to reach out to Luke. I think
have
a private conversation.
It's probably a call off air, Linda, but we can get in touch and talk about that as well.
100%.
But it's good to explore these, being consistent and persistent, then brings out that question, right?
Of course it does, because you walk around with your Search Party Property shirt on and letting people know what it is that you do. So, Linda, I'd suggest reach out to this guy and he'll be able to point you in the right direction straight after now.
I will say about social media, it's really interesting. I had a conversation with someone last night and they've written a book and they're in a situation where they're being told by, I guess, PR agencies, whatever, to be more of an influencer. Right, and then you ask them and deep dive into what's really going on with them, and they're just like, I don't want to be posting all the time. I don't want to. Well, how many books do you want to sell? Oh, I just want to sell 100. And I was like, okay, well, just go in within your community. You don't have to be an influencer if you don't really want to be, and if it's not going to make you happy. You can see the drawn face or the expressions of, what an influencer does, and it's all like fake and this and that. They're not into it, so why do it?
But what is an influencer? So when you say influencer, so I understand what you're saying. You're talking about people who have got gazillion followers and doing all sorts of things that are fake and
even like 10,000.
Yep.
Even like 10,000 followers and things like that, and get maybe 200 likes or something. But we just that whole idea about it, it's only less than 1%, because when you deep dive into what people are going through from themselves of actually attracting attention, trying to sell a product or service, what is it really about for them to put themselves out there? Do they really want to do it? Are they going to find it painstaking, and really not an outcome that they want to derive for ourselves?
Sure.
So they haven't even worked on the goal or the outcome, whatever. Like, this is a slight tangent from what we're talking about.
That's okay. I've got a couple of views on that. Of course I do. And the first one is that if you're influencing one other person, then I'm going to suggest you're an influencer. So I understand that a lot of people talk about, hey, influencer being, all these attractive girls with 1,000 followers and all that sort of bizzo. But, us on a Sunday morning, we are influencing other people. If one person does something that we talk about, we have influenced that person. We may not know that we've influenced them, but we have influenced that one person. The other thing I'll say is that it's called self-awareness. Right, so go back to the point around this person you're talking to. If that person isn't comfortable doing those things, guess what? Either A, you have to lean into it because a lot of us do things that we're not comfortable with, but it starts with the end in mind. Get clear on your goal. And so those people who keep pushing and saying you need to be an influencer, do you really? Do you really? Maybe you do, or maybe you don't. So it's about working out what's true to you, working out, have self-awareness, right? And if it is so left of field for you and it's just not important to you, then it's never ever going to happen anyway.
Hayden West has come on. He says, influence yourself and those closest
to
you.
That's my whole point.
Interesting one, Hayden. How do you influence? I know you put a post up on social media yesterday about not wanting to be pushed, but how do you influence other people that are around you as well as yourself? Bit of rain on the northern suburbs today, golfing this afternoon, probably very climatic or exceptionally climatic, good conditions for you.
Can I answer that question?
Yes,
so how you influence people is you lead by example. So leadership is a behaviour, not a job title. And so for a lot of people it's like, well, I know a leader is a boss or a leader is a manager or whatever. No, that's not true. We are all leaders. We all have the opportunity and the potential to be leaders. It's a behaviour. So you influence people. For example, parents, you are influencing people. You have eyes on you every single moment, every single day. You may not think you do, but you do, right? So you have an opportunity to influence your children. You have an opportunity to influence those closest to you by the way in which you lead, by the way in which you conduct yourself, by the way in which you show up, by your actions, your behaviours, etc.
Really interesting. David says, good morning. A couple other comments. Olivia, good to see you on as well. And we've got a comment from Sean here. He says, in the book example, it's the PR's job to be to do the influencer post, so they get their commission, not necessarily the writers. I guess when the book is about the writer, is from the writer, they want to put their own. They should be putting their own thoughts and own value out there and put themselves out on social media. I guess that's where she was going, Sean, in terms of posting.
Not everyone, but so again, you've got other avenues. So some people are very comfortable in front of a camera. Some people are absolutely shocking. Some people are very good on audio with podcasts, etc. Some people aren't. Some people are very good writers, so that person may be a very good writer. Why not just be an awesome writer and do all sorts of blog posts, so you can influence people through the written word? And so there's a whole range of ways.
It's interesting that she actually had the pressure from someone else to actually telling her to be an influencer, and she was so stuck in it. When you get that advice and you're so stuck on it, you're just like, well, that's what I should be doing. That's what someone else is telling me to do. But you're not even asking yourself, does it feel right for you?
Correct, 100%.
Like, this is amazing that you ask them a couple of questions and go, well, don't do it if you don't like it.
And
like, don't do it.
And who is the other person who's telling them? That's the other thing, So they're blindly saying, "Oh, well, I watched a clip, and you're supposed to be doing videos and whatnot." Well, that just shows that person has no, no awareness, no understanding, no empathy of what the writer's going
Actually, it
through.
makes me think a little bit of what Linda was asking about before in terms of property. I speak to people in property investing, and they, start to talk about maybe a reno flip, kind of similar to what Linda's referring to there. But you've got to think about it, whether it resonates with yourself. Are you going to go to a property and clean it up and knock down walls and be seeing contractors on site and dealing with the pain and the ups and downs of renovations? Like, are you going to want to do that? If you ask yourself that question and the answer is no, don't do it. It's never about the money, it's about the exercise. And Linda, you've got to be careful on that sort of thing, which we can discuss off air as well.
Well, you only see on TV the renovations that go well, and a lot of them are incredibly staged, so you need to be aware of that. There's a lot of renovators.
You can't do a bathroom in 3 days.
There's a lot of renovators who go out the back door and lose a lot of money. Right, so you need to be very careful, and it's not just renovators. We're not picking on renovators. It could be developers. It can be investors. It could be people in the share market. It's just there's a lot of people who will think that, hey, this is a quick way to get a quick buck. Doesn't always work that way. So understand what's important.
I'm checking
to you.
Tony's phone on the time because we haven't even got to the first point yet.
That's
but we have been
talking.
We have been talking about different aspects of disconnecting from the outcome, which Joe Biden we brought up as our first topic. 47 years now, he's going to be the president of the United States after 47 years and so many ups and downs in his life. Tony Gallagher says, "I believe being my best me allows others to want to be around me."
Yep.
And then it leads to the discussions on how we can support each other. Absolutely, Tony. Well done. Well said.
And can I say, so A, that's awesome, but B, it's because it's control what you can control. You can't be the best anyone else, so you can only be the best version of you. And so it's all about how do you get the best out of yourself, how to maximise your own potential, And if people
Are
want
you
to
being the best Tony?
and if people want to, which Tony? That Tony or this Tony? And if people,
The other Tony.
if people want to, Tony Robbins. So he's the other Tony. So if people want to hang around you, well, you can't control that, right? You can't control that, and so it's about focusing on you, putting your very best foot forward. And if people hang around you, that's awesome. And if people choose not, well, guess what? That's awesome as well.
Hayden says conversations and questions help open people's minds, including your own mind, and find is the most effective, and the mind, I find the most effective way. Yeah, so questions, conversations, really good. And that's what happened last night, actually. And on the back of that, I guess the result was that they started following me on social media.
Great.
So, you know, then that was a step that they took, and it was like, okay, I'll see what you're doing. But I just spoke about it. I actually do it because I love it. I enjoy it. And it helps me build my best self as well. Public speaking, talking about property, getting interaction from other people about property, asking for other people's opinions about property. So all these things come up. Jeff Miles, good to have you on. Sean says absolutely to Tony Gallagher. So yeah, T times 3.
That's
Tony
it.
times,
All the T's. They're all here.
Tony's and Sean's everywhere today. Just one Luke.
100%.
Just one Luke.
Only one.
Poor little Luke.
Oh, poor little Luke. Oh. I know.
All right.
Point number one.
Point number one.
15
So we
minutes
are
in.
talking about disconnecting from the outcome and then really focusing on the process. So I think firstly what we've got to think about is, what is your vision for yourself? What is the goals for yourself? And then put them in the memory bank. Tony, what are your thoughts?
Look, my thoughts are always start with the end in mind. So I learnt this tip through Stephen Covey, his book 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. Always start with the end in mind. Now, your end might be a week into the future, it might be a month into the future, it might be a year, 10 years, it doesn't really matter. But start with the end in mind. Then what you do is you work backwards. So you work your way backwards and you're creating a plan from where you want to be to where you are today. So you always plan in reverse. And then what you do is you take action in a forwards direction.
What about the allow side of it?
What do you mean allow?
Yeah, because things come up at different times, right? You know, your path might be, the end goal might be out there, and you know, all different types of paths can happen. And you set some steps, but then something else comes into a changing market, a changing attitude, a new influence of friends, other things come up, and you sway your path. And you're by allowing for things to come up and happen as well.
Adapt. 2020. No one thought the coronavirus would come and do what it did. No one. So anyone who set a goal in 2019 for 2020, I don't believe anyone would have factored in the coronavirus. I don't believe anyone in Victoria would have factored in that they would have been shut down for months on end. Right? Adapt. Pivot. Pivot's been the word of the year. Right? Do those types of things. Stuff is going to happen. In fact, in a lot of cases, bad stuff happens. Right? Really bad stuff happens. It's not that bad stuff's not going to happen. It will. It's how you respond to the bad stuff. That is going to be the difference between mediocrity and success. And so you need to be able to respond to the things that are coming up. A lot of people respond in a oh my gosh, I can't believe that happened, and it's dwell on the past, etc. As opposed to going, well, hey, shit happens. That's no good, but what can I do about it? Because I'm resourceful enough to get out and continue in the pursuit of my goal. So I get knocked off, and you would have seen on the internet plenty of drawings around.
I get knocked down, but I get up again.
You would have seen on the internet plenty of drawings where they talk about the journey of entrepreneurship. And they have a little graph which has, is it a straight line? The answer is no, it's not. And then you've got this squiggly line.
Yes.
You've got this line that goes up and down and backwards and...
Well, it goes like...
loops around and...
circles. Let's think about even Joe Biden as presidential... Like, it's kind of like an entrepreneur as such, isn't it? Like, you're running in for yourself. Like, that's an entrepreneur role. It's his own business, right?
Yes, it is. He's running because he wants to make a difference with people. So again, that's no different to a business person. And he's wanting to make a difference, and he felt that he could do a better job than the alternative. And so
it's personal brand.
Of course, it's 100% personal brand, because you only have two choices. You either have the red team or the blue team. There is no other choice.
Well, I lost.
So absolutely. But
Trumpy lost.
But again, it's a case of, up, down, sideways, backwards, but bad things are going to happen. If you sit there and have the expectation that bad things won't happen to you, then you're going to be sadly and sorely, it's going to happen, right? And so for you, it's about accept that bad things will happen. Stuff that you hadn't thought of is going to happen. but it's what you do next. And that is the ultimate key to success. It's what are you going to do about it, and are you still resourceful and committed enough to pursue the goal you've got for yourself?